The Circle of Knowledge podcast is brought to you by Amplified Minds, helping entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and dreamers take their business ideas and goals to the next level. This podcast features best-selling industry resources and the professional panel discussion by the core team at Amplified Minds. Now, here are their discussions.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Circle of Knowledge podcast today. This is John Kovach, and with me is Mr. Brian Hubbard.
How's it going, guys? Glad to be here.
Today is super exciting. We are, let's be honest, it's always super exciting. But today we're going to be talking about mindset. And previously in the show, we used to talk about some fun things about us, some really cool facts. But we really just want to cut to the chase and give you a little bit more knowledge and information. And then as you interact with us on social media or you like and share our podcast, we will give you personal shout outs here on the air. So thank you so much for listening. But today, if you're watching on the live or if you're listening to us, we're talking about the book Mindset by Carol S. Dweck.
Yep.
And I should add the PhD, right?
Yeah, she's got some letters after her name. She knows what she's talking about.
So if you don't have the book, get it, Mindset. We're going to be talking about two things today. Growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And this, honestly, we could take this book and dissect it for an entire month because there's just so much great content. We're going to take one section and we're going to focus in on that growth mindset factor. But I want to read to you just something quickly out of this book. So in short, the growth mindset lets people, even those who are targets of negative labels, use and develop their minds fully. Their heads are not filled with limiting thoughts, a fragile sense of belonging, and a belief that other people can define them. And I love this, and we'll kind of just dive in and just kind of mastermind this out a little bit, Brian. But with a growth mindset, it is people who, and people have heard this phrase, but living outside the box. Okay, they're not always inside the box. They're not putting up walls, not adding things to their life that keep them within limiting bounds, but they're allowing themselves to think open, outward, and allow them to grow a little bit better. So let's just dive into that. I don't know what your first thoughts are, but let's dive in.
Yeah, my first thoughts, I'm a very logical guy when I think about things, but with that being said, as we've even talked about on this podcast before and in books that you might have read, all actions that are made are first thought through the emotional side, and then you justify it with logic. So even though that I'm saying I'm a logical guy, I have to have the emotion side behind it. But what I want to talk about with the growth mindset versus fixed mindset is I want to have a logical analogy for someone that might be into math or that might be into be able to see something more visual. Is an X and Y axis is with what I mean by that is if you're listening with an X and Y axis, if you've been through high school or college, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When it's a linear line that is going, let's call it at a 45-degree angle in a positive realm. So if you're looking at this, or if you're in your mind, it would be going from left to right up 45%. And that's a fixed mindset. It's something that you know this is what it's going to do. This is how it's going to work. This is how it could happen. And this is 1 + 1 = 2. Well, a growth mindset is kind of a parabola. A half of a parabola, so it's starting on that exponential growth where you think you might be learning things, you're learning, you're putting into action, and then it has that exponential growth because you have the open mindset, the growth mindset of allowing yourself to be able to go outside of the box, as John explained. On the front of this book, actually, it talks about parenting, business, school, and relationships. So this isn't just for business. I know that what we talk about on this podcast is very business and professionally related, but growth versus fixed mindset applies with every single thing in your life, whether that be relationships, business, school, anything of that sort. But I like to be able to think of it as a X and Y axis because you have to be able to learn initially, and 1 + 1 does not equal 2 in the growth mindset. It could equal a lot more, completely dependent upon the type of action that you put in and the value that you provide.
Yeah, and I love that. And a lot of the stuff that we do talk about on this podcast is a kind of personal development that leads into business. And I think that has a lot to do with the people who we talk to, because people with the entrepreneurial mindset are usually those who are, we list them as go-getters. Mm-hmm. We call them high achievers, success-oriented people. These are the types of people, and we're talking to you, these are the types of people who are dabbling with and exploring what we call the growth mindset. And Brian talked about kind of that linear function of what it looks like to mathematically make things make sense. But the parabola is really interesting, and I thought that was really cool, and a really cool way to explain it, because if you think about physics and you think about mathematics, everything has a root, a cause, an equation, and so forth. But have you ever been open to science as well as opinion? Mm-hmm. Have you ever been open to something that allows you to think, okay, how is this going to make me grow? What is and I think we can just take a personal experience out of all this and say, everything that I do at the end of the day, can I reflect and say, wow, how did that help me grow? Instead of saying, oh, shoot, man, that was a bad day, or this made my day bad. Closed mindset, bad. Okay? Open mindset, wow, I learned a lot. I gained a lot. I did so many things that I probably could have done better. Making yourself better is always going to make your business better. And I think that's kind of a fun principle to always focus on is that open mindset is going to provide you a different perspective in life. And people with different perspectives in life often win.
That's very, very true. We were just at a networking event last night. We've already talked about it on this podcast, but a friend of ours, Levi, he owns a company called Prosperity Gym, as well as multiple others. He's been a serial entrepreneur and done very well for himself. He has this now event and company that is growing called Prosperity Gym, and in it talks a lot about the relationships that you can grow within your own life to be able to then apply it to the business side of things, to the professional side of things. And he talks about the reciprocal type of relationships, the perpetual, the transactional, and obviously everything revolves around the perpetual, where you're providing as much value as possible and your Rolodex is their Rolodex and vice versa. But it comes down to that growth mindset, allowing yourself to be able to give as much as possible. I think Gary Vaynerchuk even put it well, which we talked about last night in his book. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Is it jab, jab, right hook? Is that okay? Jab, jab, right hook. It's talking about give, then ask, or give, then ask. In this world, it's very common for us to be able to be that transactional individual with the fixed mindset is if I ask this, then I get that. Versus if I give this, I could get way more than I could have ever expected. Once again, 1 + 1 not being 2. It goes into that exponential realm, that growth realm, which is something that can only be found out if you let yourself expound more than you've been used to. Go into that uncomfortable stage. Do something that's new. It's not something that's you're going to read in a book and that you're going to apply and it's going to work exactly like this. It's something that you're going to read in a book and apply and find out what this is, which is exponentially larger than 1 + 1.
You guys see, this is why I love working with Brian, because Brian just took this concept and took it even deeper. We're no longer at the surface. We went a little bit deeper, and he took this concept and related it to something we just recently experienced, as well as learned and found out through networking. You can create a more valuable relationship than just having that fixed mindset. You can come into things with a little bit more openness, and you can be a little bit more accepting of what can happen by just sharing business with people, being open to them. A thought I had was, oh man, and it just lost me. But I just got super excited because Brian just transitioned this into something really cool. But honestly, guys, one of the things I wanted to shout out to you is in one of our mastermind groups, we talked about how this is the end of the year. So if you're listening to this, it's probably going to be about November.
Yep.
And this is the time of year where most people start to close the books. Yes. This is the time of year where people say, look, I've done all my business, I've done all my networking, I've generated leads all year long. It's time to just close the books because this is when people start settling down, getting ready for the holidays, whatever it is. Well, let me tell you, that's a fixed mindset.
Very.
Because let me tell you, between November and December 31st, more money is spent throughout the entire 2 months that we're about to enter than any other time of the year. And if that's the case, then that means business is flowing. Business is flowing. So don't have a fixed mindset. Have an open mindset to know that just in a few a dozen weeks, okay, no, not dozen, 6 to 8 weeks, you are going to have the most grand opportunity to elevate your business. So walk into the next 2 months with an open mindset. Any last thoughts?
I think let's make sure to be able to give them a challenge. I know what you just did right there, John, was a type of challenge. going into your life and your business with more of a growth mindset, what is something tangible that we can give them that they can take action on right now versus leaving it open-ended in their own mind? What's something that we can give some direction to? I'm asking, do you have any ideas, or I'm trying to come up with some right now. I want to be able to give direction versus just go out there and get it, guys. When you hear that kind of stuff, sure, that motivation might be there, but we know motivation dies if it's not consistently put upon yourself. So I'm trying to think of something that would be a directional, obviously a directional thing that we could tell you to go do is obviously go in the show notes, download Go Get Mindset, because this is something that is, it's a book that will change your life if applied. And I think I could say that with almost every single book, but this is one that it's not the one you're going to read marketing and you're going to go, okay, this is how I'm going to apply it to my business with my next campaign launch. This is a book that literally every single thing within your life, whether that be relationships, family, business, religion, anything, if you have this type of mindset, you can have exponential growth versus linear growth. And so that would be my ask of all of you, is if you've never read the book, Go Get Mindset. If you even want to Google it, this is something that you can Google, and this book could be boiled down into a couple sentences, even paragraphs. But if you read it and figure out how to apply it to your life, come up with some actual things that you can do now that will apply to the next day. This isn't a book that you're going to have to figure out and apply next year. This is something you can read and apply that same day within your own realm. That's maybe why it's hard for us to be able to give an exact thing for you guys to be able to do, because this is such an open-ended book for you to allow it to be able to affect what part of your life you want it to be affected by.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great challenge. The only thing I would add to that is maybe something a little bit more tangible is ask more questions. People who ask questions are going to be those who are a little bit more open to that open mindset or that growth mindset, instead of those who are closed off, who say the way it is the way it's going to be, or the way I done it is the way it's always going to be done. Well, let me tell you this. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got.
Very true. And I think that's a great way to be able to end it.
Great. Well, hey, everyone, thank you so much. If you do like and listen to this podcast often, we are giving a shout out to you. Give us a 5-star review, leave us a comment, and we will give you a personal shout out here on the air. But we wanted to just thank everyone who has given us their reviews, and we're currently above 10,000 downloads, which is exciting. Thank you for listening, and thanks for being a part of the Circle of Knowledge. You are amongst our community, which we call the community of achievers. So thank you so much. And signing out, this is John Kovach Jr.
And Brian Hubbard. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Hey, this is John with Amplified Minds. Thanks again for listening to the show. We really hope you enjoyed the Circle of Knowledge podcast. If you like the Circle of Knowledge podcast, go ahead, subscribe, rate us, and if you give us a 5-star review, we promise to give you a personal shout out here on the air. Just watch us. You can also engage with us a little bit more through social media. On any channel, you can just find us at Amplified Minds. To learn more about Amplified Minds, go to our website at amplifiedminds.com. That's AMPLIFIEDMINDS.com. You should also check out the Amplified Minds Accountability Program, where you can gain access to a one-on-one personal accountability coach, somebody who will contact you weekly and motivate you, hold you accountable, follow up, and give you the proper resources that will help you to go out and achieve all your goals. Hey, shout out to all you coaches, speakers, mentors, the superheroes of the world. We have the perfect program for you and your audiences. We have the capabilities of setting your audience and communities up in private mastermind groups and assign them a one-on-one personal accountability coach where they can help your people achieve the things that they're working towards, tailored to your programs. For more information about this, go ahead and send me an email at John, that's JON, at amplifiedminds.com. I look forward to hearing from you.